showing you today how to make a rechargeable light with a fearless container. What you need to do first and foremost, you remove this material that is used to wrap this container. After you have done that, you take your saw blade and cut gently until you get to the end. After you have done cutting, you will have something like this. Something like this. After you are done cutting, you take a switch and mark the position of the charging port. After you have done marking the position of the charging port, you cut same time also. At the end you will have something like this. After that, you take up your masking tape along with your LED light and place it on the LED light. And cut. Cut. After you have done cutting, you take your biro and mark the point of the LED light each. The end you will have something like this. After you are done with that process, you take the container back again. Take the tape that you mark the point of the LED light and you place it on it, one after the other. Until it gets to the end. You can see it is done. After that, you take your soldering iron and you drill. Ensure that the soldering is hot enough so that you can have a good result at the end. You drill continuously until you get to the end. Drill continuously. Drill continuously. Like what I say, until you get to the end. So when you are through with that process, you will have something like this. After then you take the cover of the fearless container, you take your switch also and you mark. You mark. After you are through the marking of the switch on the cover of the fearless container, you take your screwdriver and you drill. You drill. At the end you will have something like this. Then you take your switch and size it. After that, you take your scissors and you cut. Cut the plastic. To a desirable shape. After cutting, you have something like this. Then you take your tape to hold it, to get the expected shape that you want and that can enter the container easily also. You take back the container again, plastic container, and you place your switch to mark the position of the charging port. You take your biro and you mark it with your razor blade. After that, you take your knife and cut. At the end, you will have something like this. Something like this. At the end, you take a battery, take a wire. Take your screwdriver also and solder. You solder. Same thing here also. You solder. After soldering, you tape. You tape to hold the wire firm to the battery. Have something like this. After that, you slot the battery in. Slot the battery in. have something like this. You take a plastic container to hold the battery firm against the plastic in order for the battery not to fall off. After that, you take your screw together with your screwdriver and you attach it to the plastic container. And you screw to hold this battery against the plastic container and to make it firm also, so that it won't fall off with time. You take a switch and remove this top part of the switch. Remove this top part of it. As you can see, it is removed. You take your soldering iron, you take your charging port, and you solder. You solder gently. So after you're done with it, you insert your charging port inside the switch. Inside it gently. Then you take your super glue. You hold the charging port against the switch not be removed. Then you glue around this part. At the end, you will have something like this. You take the plastic container that you install the battery and you sized it. You take your soldering iron again, take a switch, and you solder. 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 After that, you take your LED light. You arrange it. So after you have arranged it, you take your copper wire and cut it into size. Cut it into size. So after you have done that, you place it at the back of the LED light. You take your soldering iron again and you solder. So that each of them, you take a copper wire again and you do the same on this other side. So after you have done that, you take your tape with your scissors and you cut to the size of the LED light. But before you cut, you ensure that it is being sized properly, it is being measured properly. And you cut. After you have done cutting, you cut the masking tape into two equal parts. You have something like this at the end. Then you tape the back of the LED light one after the other to avoid partial contact and to avoid the wire from having contact with the other, so that it won't get bridged and burnt the LED light. At the end, you will have something like this. Then you take the container back again, together with the LED light. You take your soldering iron again and solder. And solder each end. You take this one again and you solder up to this end. After that, you take the container back again. You bent the wire to bring the LED light together, and so that it can enter the container freely also. Then you bring them together to get a circle shape, just like this. After doing that, you insert the light inside the container. Something like this. Then take a plastic container together with the light also, and you insert it inside the plastic container gently. Turned it such that this point tally with this point here. This is how it will look like. You take your screwdriver, bring the components together. The component that will be used to make the charging point in solder. Take your wire and solder. Again, and solder. So after you're done, you have something like this. After that, you take the bottom part of the container together with the charging component and you install it inside of it. You take a screwdriver, you take a screw and you place it at the bottom. The screwdriver placed it. And you screw for you. At the end, this is how it will be. You have something like this. You bring the light back again for connection. This one is black. That comes from the LED light. You connect to this black. You take this one, you connect to this. You take a charging port and place it at this point. Then you connect the red that comes from the charging port to this red and goes to the diode. This red to the one that comes back out is the output from the diode. Then you on to check if this connection is alright. As you can see, the connection is not completed. You connect this one from the switch to the battery. So after you have done with the connection, take your multimeter and set it to the range of DC to check the battery, the volt of the battery. As you can see, it's 3.8. It's okay. After this, you take your scissors together with your tape and cut it into smaller size, and cut it into smaller size. So after you have finished cutting the tape, you tape each of the joints properly. To avoid having contact with the other. As you can see, it's done. You take a capacitor and add it to the connection, because if you don't add capacitor to the connection here, the voltage that is coming from the battery can damage the LED light. So you add your capacitor to it. Connect one side of this one, your capacitor to it. You connect one side of this one to the positive. And this other side to the negative. Take it, and you tape it again. Tape it. You tape this other one as well. They bring this other side and this and the button together. Push the wire in gently. And you cover. You take your needle and you pierce it. With it. And do the same thing here also, to create a point at which the screw will be inserted. You take your screwdriver You take your screw. And you place it at the point. And you screw. Do the same thing. And you screw. After everything, you have something like this.